Well, yes, except I didn't record it. I said I was going to, and then I didn't. So that's irritating. All right. So, this is module 11.5. So this is part B of the module 11. So let's make sure we have all the phones away. Shouldn't even be seen. Shouldn't be out. All right. We use the double distributive property, or here just the regular distributive property. Okay. What we are talking about, factoring, is like the reverse of the distributive property. All right. So factoring, you might want to underline this. Factoring is the process of expressing as the product of monomials and polynomials. Okay? So factors, and let me just put this up here too. Factors, if we talk about factors, we have 5 times 6. Those would be your factors. It's the 2 things or the 3 things that you are multiplying together. Okay? And 30 would be your product. Okay? But, of course, it's going to be a more complicated when we have it with polynomials. But it's still, the factors are the things that are getting multiplied to give you the product. All right? So they show some distributing, and this is just like before. We have 3y getting distributed with 2y plus 5. So that's 3y times 2y plus 3y times 5. Notice they multiply 3 times 2 to get the 6. And you are also have 2 y's, y to the second, that is being multiplied. Plus 3 times 5 is 15, and you have 1y. Okay? That's what we're used to. In factoring, it is what I would say reverse distributive property. Reverse distributing. Okay? That's what factoring is, reverse distributing. So we have 6y squared plus 15y. So first of all, just as before, you look at the coefficients, 6 and 15. Can you turn that down just a little? Thank you. You always start with your smallest coefficient, okay? So start with the smaller coefficient. So that's going to be 6. And what I want you to do is think of all the factors of 6. And this is really, really important. Factors of 6 are the things that multiply to give you 6. So that's 1 and 6, 2 and 3. And write them down as pairs. Okay? So, again, first of all, you start with your smaller number. That's the 6 here. And you say, is 6 a factor of 15? Okay? And you're going to say no. So you cross that out. Then you go to the next largest factor of 6, which is 3. And you say, is 3 a factor of 15? And that means, is 3 times some number give you 15? And you say yes. Okay, so that means 3 is a factor for both. We already know it's a factor of 6. And we just said we know it's also a factor of 15. Okay? Then we look at the y's. This first term has 2 y's that are being multiplied together. The second term has 1 y. Always start with the smallest amount. Well, if this has 2, that's y times y. If this one has 1, that's y. What's the most I can factor out or take away from that big term? 1y. So that is 3y. Okay? So then I would take this. This is what we call that number that we just divided by, this is called the greatest common factor. It is common to both, all right? We can divide both of those terms by 3y. So we rewrite it out in front because it is a factor, and then you actually divide. So 6 divided by 3 gives you the 2. Y to the second divided by y, you had 2 y's. You are taking away 1, so you have 1 y left. All right? Plus, then you take 15 divided by 3. That gives you the 5. And you had 1y divided by y itself. Well, if you take away that 1y, you don't have anything left. So your factoring is 3y times quantity 2y plus 5. Okay? It's very important to get this understanding right away. All right? We'll be doing some more examples, but that's basically what we're doing. So this process is known as looking for the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor. AKA, that means also known as the GCF. So we'll be like, look for the GCF. And that is the first step always in trying to factor a polynomial, is to look for the GCF. Okay? All right. So let's take a look here. The next one. Find the GCF of the following terms. So as I look at 6 and 8, I want you to always start with the smallest one, 6. Okay? The smallest coefficient. And I want you to write over here the factors of 6, the factors of that smallest coefficient. Okay? So you start with the largest number or the largest factor of 6. Is 6 a factor of 8? Can I take 6 times some whole number to get 8? No. So then you go to the next largest factor of 6. 3. Is 3 a factor of 8? No. So then you round the circle because 2 and 3 are a pair, and you see 2. Is 2 a factor of 8? Yes. So we are going to divide both of these by the number 2. The first term, so now we're done with our coefficients. Now we're looking at our variables. We have x to the third and x to the fifth. This has 3 x's that we're multiplying together. This has 5. What is the most that we can take equally from both of them? 3, right? So we are going to divide by x to the third on both sides, because we can take 3 here and we can take 3 here. And it's the common factor. It has to be the same for both. So the GCF here, and this is only the GCF, the answer is 2x to the third. Because this isn't telling me factored all the way down. They just want the greatest common factor. Now, after a while, maybe some of you don't need to do this. But for right now, let's keep doing this and make sure you understand the process. Okay? Any questions about this so far? Okay, let's go to the next one. So I have 12a squared and 16a. Start with your smallest coefficient, which is what? 12. So I'm going to write down 12, and let's talk about the factors of 12. Always start with 1 and that factor itself. So 1 and 12, and then go up. 2, is 2 a factor? Yes, so that'd be 2 and 6, right? 2 times 6 is 12. And then go up one more, 3, 3 and 4. All right. So we're going to be dividing here because that's essentially what you're doing. It's reverse multiplication, reverse distributive property called factoring. So does 12, is that a factor of 16? 12 times some whole number? No. How about 6? 6 times some number gives me 16? No. 4, yes. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And I have a squared and a. What's the most that I can take from both? 1a. So that is 4a. So my greatest common factor is just that, 4a. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next page. Now we are actually going to factor. Okay, we found the greatest common factor. Now we're going to factor and say, okay, if I divide by that factor, what do I have left? So we just had, if you look over here, we just had 12a squared and 16a. And that's what they're starting with. 12a squared plus 16a. We divided both of these by 4a. And this was my GCF. Okay? That becomes your first factor when you're writing these out. That greatest common factor is your first common factor. Okay? And then you're going to put a parentheses. Because we want to see when I take 12a squared divided by 4a, what am I going to get? So you look at it and you say, what is 12 divided by 4? 3. And what is a squared divided by a? Well, think about it. You had two a's, a times a, that's what a squared means, and you divide by one of those a's. So how many a's do you have left? 1, so that is that a to the first. Or you could just write a. Plus, okay, let's go to the other term. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And a divided by a, if you take away that a, you don't have any more a's left, right? So this is your final answer. Put the end of the parenthesis. It'll be right there. Now, I want to show you that you need to do just a quick check and look at this, because if you distribute this back the other way, you should get your original answer of 12a squared plus 16a. So let's do that. 4 times 3 is 12. A times a is how many a's? Which is a to the second. And 4 times 4 is 16 times a is a. And that is an easy, quick check to make sure you get the same answer. Right? So far, so good? Okay. All right, so I am going to go back there. See if you can do this first one by yourself. Now, I'll tell you, this is a little wonky. But start with your smallest coefficient. Write the factors over on the left. And see what you can come up with. Okay? All right. Yes. So, okay, when you say negative x, is there a coefficient there? Is there a number that's negative?
1.
Okay.
So would I put 1 in front, or can I just leave?
You can leave it like that too, but here, you're talking about for this one, right? Is that a negative 2 already?
Mm-mm.
Oh, just positive 2?
Wait, that is supposed to be a negative.
Ah, that might make a difference then.
Okay.
So then,
wait. I can just make it.
Mm-hmm. And then you have this negative 2.
It would be positive because.
Uh-huh. There you go.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Yeah, just make sure you get them all. Okay. I should have brought this down. Well, this one's kind of weird, isn't it? Because it doesn't have really that many factors. But you still need to just do the process. So yeah, this was a bad one to start with. But it was letter A, so I thought, oh, let's let them try. All right, so as you look at these, you start with the smallest coefficient. Which one is your smaller coefficient? 5, right? Is everybody thinking 5? Okay, so we put 5 over here. What are the factors of 5? 1 and 5. Oh, that means it's a prime number. Remember, prime numbers only have the number itself and 1. Okay, so 1 and 5. So you look at 14, and is 14 divisible by 5 evenly? No. And it is divisible by 1. Okay, so I guess we'll put 1 for now. And then you have g to the 3rd and g to the 5th. Well, how many g's can I factor out? 3, right? So I will put g to the 3rd and g to the 3rd here. So this is my greatest common factor. It's common to both, so I'm going to put that out in front. And you don't have to have the 1 in front, but you can if that helps for now. All right, so now we got to divide. What is 14 divided by 1? 14, right? And what is g to the 3rd divided by g to the 3rd? How many g's would you have left? Not 1. You wouldn't have any left, but since you're dividing, you could say you're multiplying by 1, right? G to the 3rd divided by g to the 3rd is 1. All right, so we just have that 14 there. Plus, what's 5 divided by 1? 5. And if I have g to the 5th divided by g to the 3rd, g to the 2nd. So you had 5, you're factoring out 3, so that means you have g to the 2nd, you have 2 left. So your final answer there for the factoring is 1g to the 3rd times quantity 14 plus 5g squared. Yes? Where you start? What do you mean? What did you write? That's fine. Usually because it's written this way, you probably would do this first, but it is the same thing. Okay? Did you do that because you were working with that one first, maybe? The 5? No? Okay. Yes. That is the same thing. All right, let's take a look at this next one. Oh my gosh. We have, what do we call this with 3 terms? A trinomial. Miss Edie, we haven't done a trinomial. I know, but it works exactly the same. So this time, though, we have 3 numbers that we need to look at, right? We have 2, 6, and 8. Always start with your smallest coefficient. So that smallest coefficient is 2. Ha, ha, ha. Did you guys watch Sesame Street when you were younger? Okay, so 2, okay, so is 2 a factor of 6? We know 2 is a factor of 2, right? Is 2 a factor of 6? Yes. Is 2 a factor of 8? Yes, because they're all even numbers, right? Any even number has 2 as a factor. Okay, and you always want to find the greatest common factor. All right. Oh, x's. They all have an x. How many x's can I take away? 1, because your smallest amount is 1x. So that means you are going to divide by 1x because that is common to all. So again, this by itself is called your, what do we call this? Your GCF, your greatest common factor, which also becomes your first factor when you are factoring. That's a lot of factor words there. All right, so let's divide. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X to the third divided by x. X to the second, right? You had 3 x's you were multiplying, and you divided and took away 1, so you have 2 left. Plus, what's 6 divided by 2? 3. X to the second divided by x. How many x's do I have left? 1. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. And x divided by x is not 0. 0 x's left, but x divided by x is 1. So this is the factoring of that trinomial above. Are you getting the hang of this? It's not too bad, is it, right now? Good. All right. Let's see. What could we do? Let's have you try C on your own. Say trinomial. And you, again, don't usually always have to do this division, but I think it just sets it up really nicely. So start with your smallest coefficient. Okay, write that right here, whatever that is. Write down the factors of that below. And let's see what you can do on your own. Okay, I'm going to be walking around. So what? Good, good. Nice. Okay, so as you're looking, look at the smallest coefficient. Right here. So put 6 over here. And then factors of 6 are going to be, always start with 1 in the number itself. So 1 and 6. And then try 2. Is 2 a factor of 6? Yeah. So 2 and... So you guys definitely might want to make sure you pick up calculators for this chapter. If you get that one done, see if you can go to the next one. Okay. All right. So start with the largest. So we want the greatest common factor. Is 6 a factor of 18? Yeah. Is 6 a factor of 21? No. So cross out 6. Try the next largest one. We know it's a factor of 6. Is 3 a factor of 18? Yeah. Is 3 a factor of 21? Yeah. So divide by 3. Or you can circle it and say, oh, I know 3 is my greatest. And then these has an x. This has an x. This one doesn't have an x. So that means 3 is your only greatest common factor, which you bring down. All right. But now we need the parentheses because we're actually factoring. So 6 divided by 3 is... and x squared. Okay. Well, you need the x. And then you go to the next one. Okay, really quickly. So you can start homework number 1. You won't be able to get very far with it. It's not due until Thursday. But your smallest coefficient here was 6. And that would give you 1 and 6, 2 and 3. 6 is not a factor of 21. 3 is for all of them, so divide by 3. And then I have x, but this last one doesn't have an x, so I can't divide by x. You can't factor something out if it's not there. So that means your greatest common factor is 3, which also becomes your first factor. And then you divide. 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared divided by essentially 1. I mean, you still have 2 x's then. Minus 18 divided by 3 is 6 with an x. And 21 divided by 3 is 7. So this is your factoring. Okay? Nice. How many had that? Look at you. You're amazing. Now, guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be very important to stay on top of this chapter. This is a tough chapter, but you guys are really picking this up. So that's excellent. So, homework number 1, not due until Thursday. Chapter 11A is over, okay? Except Allie and Naima, if you have any homework, you have until today. Review, homework, bell work, any of that. You can still turn in today, okay? Yes. Question? All right. Good job, guys. Let's really stay on top of this, okay? Because, well, you can't retake anything on this anyway, though.